Hey, it's Wanchaloa here for another video. I'm kind of spamming the channel right now, but this one's important because a lot of people expressed a lot of interest in this. So you guys expressed interest in the format that I have for my lines, for my lineage proof lines. Like for example, this PDF is my Tlaxcalan Proof of Lineage PDF or PowerPoint. I set up in a PowerPoint and then I export it as a PDF, so I can share it either way if I had to prove my case. So what we have here is I have a picture of like the actual book page where I found the record, then a cropped image of the record itself. I add lines here, like this blue line that you can get from shapes, and then I just color it and arrange the thickness, and then I highlight what it's really important, circle maybe the place to show consistency, and then I write a little brief summary up here at the top. So I'm going to show you guys from scratch how to do it because I had to kind of figure it out. It's not really complicated, but just so you guys can copy this format. And if you guys just want like my Tlaxcalan Proof of Lineage, just like as an example, like you want the file, like the PowerPoint file, then let me know and I can actually just share that with you. I'll just need your email for that, right? So here we go. I'm also going to, this is a two-part video. I'm going to explain how to set this up. And then I'm also going to explain how I handled a discrepancy in my Tlaxcalan line, okay? And it gave me a really big headache. An ancestor of mine, this is my fourth great grandmother, used 3 different last names: Lopez, Gonzalez, and Losano, all right? And I'm not going to explain how I determined, oh yeah, this is the same person. And it was giving me such a headache, and my OCD was really working overtime because I was like, this is such an important line. Like, I got to make sure I tie this together because, like, most people actually believe my evidence even straight out the gate, even with those discrepancies, because everything lined up. But then I actually just went above and beyond that. And I'll show you guys what you can do to really make sense of the discrepancies, because those are actually fairly common. Like I thought the 3 name thing, I thought I'd be like kind of the only one, because, it's kind of normal for our ancestors to might use 1 or 2 different last names, maiden or dad's last name, which makes perfect sense. But this one, like the Lopez name, was completely random. I was like, what the hell is that here for? So, but that's actually not super uncommon. Some people actually found ancestors with 3 or more names, and it's the same person because it's the same place, the same time period, all the other relationships line up. It's the same person, but for whatever freaking reason, they got all these extra little names. I don't know what that is. Maybe they're middle names, maybe they're Christian names that they chose to adopt, nicknames. I have no idea. But before we get into the Tlaxcalan Proof of Lineage and what I did, we'll go to a blank PowerPoint. So what I do is, obviously you have your title page, which I'm going to skip. That's not really important. You can format that however you like. For this, here's what I do. I just click on this button for pictures, and I'll upload a picture for you guys. So Irene Martinez's baptism, right? I don't remember exactly where it is. Usually I have it pulled up on Ancestry to figure out, oh, okay, it's in this part of the page, right? And then I'm able to crop that. So what I do is I just do the following. I'll delete the title thing up here. I'll copy, I'll paste, and then just exit out of this because it gets in the way. Then I will do the crop option. So for example, I don't know where Irene is on this page. I forgot. But let's just say it's right here, this record right here. I just crop this, and don't struggle. Just go up to the search bar, type in crop picture. Mine's already pulled up, but crop picture. And so what I'll do is I'll shrink this down immensely. I'll maximize this, zoom it up, right? I'll try to make it take the entire page up just so it looks neat, and try to make sure the image doesn't look too stretched. And then I match this here. So there you go. And then what I do is I insert a text box and I talk about the record. Well, so-and-so was born in 1803 on the 3rd of May, or whichever way you want to format it. Their parents were so-and-so. Their maternal grandparents were so-and-so. Their paternal grandparents were so-and-so. This took place at, and then I put the location down. So that's just kind of an example of what I do. So if you want to highlight people's names or really important information, obviously just click on the highlight button and it will do it. So I tend to do that. As far as the place, what I like to do is I'll circle the place I hear, like these narrows, and then I'll format the shape because it'll fill in with the fill. So you just put no fill, and then the line is just a certain color. You can make it as thick as you want and change the color up. And that's how I get this color to highlight certain things. Same thing with underlining like people's names, like this Basilio Martinez guy. And so what I'll do is, again, you just go to format shape, and then you just up the width till you feel comfortable with it. You can change the color. And then just to make my life easy, I just copy and paste these and all around, and I put them where they need to go and all that pretty much. So that's pretty much what I do. There's not a whole lot to it. Like I said, if you need to put extra notes, you can just insert another text box, and you can put a note like up here above the location if you'd like, and then highlight it just to make sure it pops out. Because again, some backgrounds it won't. So that's just how you do it. It's a really quick, easy way to do it. I actually agonized over this a long time. I thought you couldn't crop from PowerPoint because I was an idiot when I first started doing this. And so it took me a long time to actually do one because I would import it from a separate software where I'd crop it. It's just really slow. But no, this is actually really fast to set up. Like I said, just import the image, copy and paste it, crop it, zoom up on what you need, just format your shapes, the circle or whatever you could circle the names if you'd like, but I just underline the names, and then I just circle the locations, highlight things that are important and write a brief summary. And that's all it looks like. That's all I repeat in a methodical manner on, hey, this is how I got to this. This is how I got to this. Very, very easy. So very, very simple. And a lot of people really like this. They say it looks really professional and in-depth. And I came up with this actually all up on my own. Maybe somebody else has the same style. I'm sure I'm not like a genealogical genius. Some people have called me that, which I appreciate, but no, I just came up with this like on the fly in my head. I'm just like, how can it look like really neat and cool? Brought up with this, and people think it looks really, really professional. So to explain the Tlaxcalan discrepancy here, I'm just going to go through what I did. Okay, what I did. So just bear with me. If you're really interested, this is how I solved some of the stuff. If you're not, obviously, you don't have to keep watching. But here goes. So for my third great grandfathers, this is right before things kind of hit the fan with this fourth great grandmother with their 3 different last names that pissed me off, right? So third great grandfather, Jose Nieves Luna. This is his birth registration, okay? And he was born in 1882 in Montemorelos. So here's the thing. In some, like, he was in that cusp where they were still getting baptized at the church and they had the birth registration. I don't know when that stopped or if that just kept up for many years, decades, right? But if you fall within that type of range, just keep a lookout, because you could find a baptism and a birth registration, and you compare the info, and that could kind of fill in those holes for you. So his parents were Gabriel Luna and Francisca Martinez. Paternal grandparents Nieves Luna and Juan Mancias. And here's the thing. For these 4 people I just mentioned, they stay consistent. And then he has maternal grandparents, Teodosio Martinez and Silverio Gonzalez. Teodosio Martinez stays consistent too. All of these people, these relationships stay consistent throughout everything. Same place, relationships, all that. The only thing that differs is Silveria. Silveria's name stays the Silveria. That's consistent. The only thing that changes is her last name. She goes from Gonzalez to Losano to Lopez. Okay, so I'll already say it right out the gate. Gonzalez is actually Silveria's maiden name, so that makes sense. Losano is her dad's last name, so that makes sense. She was just going by different records, and I believe she had died before this, like in 1864. But even in some records before her death, like her children, she gets going by Lopez, and I don't know where Lopez comes from. If I had a wager, it's a middle name. I don't think the priest was messing up that many times. I think it's maybe a middle name or just another nickname or something. I don't know. Maybe it was short for Losano. I have no idea. But it's clearly her, as I'm about to demonstrate for you guys here. So one thing that you can pay attention to, obviously, is make sure all the relationships are the same. If all the relationships are consistent except one person, it's really unlikely anyways that this is duplicate, because think about it. If for it to be duplicate, that person, you wouldn't just duplicate the person. You'd have to duplicate all the people with the same relationship. So what's the chances of there being another Gabriel Luna, another Francisco Martinez, another Nieves Luna, another Juana Mancias, and they're the parents of Gabriel, and then Gabriel's getting married to this duplicate Francisca. The chances of that much duplication is extremely low, but you can even make a bigger case for this if you drag in the siblings, which is my favorite style. Favorite tool to do is use the siblings because they really get you far. So here's the thing. They came from the demarcation of Cisneros, which I'm about to show in a map. Cisneros, like demarcation, pretty much means it's like it was a municipality back then, most likely. So they came from this municipality, but they come from a very specific village. So again, Jose Nieves Luna's birth registration, we go to his baptismal record. Everything stays the same. All the names stay the same here. Now they say that they're from Cerrito. So that's the specific village that they are from, right? In that municipality, I'm assuming. Everything stays consistent, all of that, right? So now we've tied Gonzalez to Cerrito and Cisneros, right? So we got both locations. So make those little connections. Those are really important and will provide a very firm backing. Hey, this is the same person. These aren't people from like widely different areas, because then I guess you could argue they're duplicates, but even then that's a stretch because people move around and all that, right? So here's a map. So I got this from David Rumsey's historical map collection, 1883, Nuevo Leon. So here's Cisneros over here, and here's Cerrito. There's two Cerritos. I'm not sure which one they would have been from. The important thing is that they were from Cerrito, and as you could probably tell, these were really small villages. So the chances, again, of duplication is very, very tiny, especially because the populations weren't even high back then, specifically in this area, because Montemorelos, which is a big city where they're getting their baptismal record and their church stuff, right now their population is like 50,000, like in 2000, like it was like 40,000. So as you can imagine, obviously there could have been mass population, like they just leave, right? A bunch of people just leave. But I think it's always been small in this area, to be honest. I don't think there's ever been, this is probably the most population they have now, and it's only 50,000. And back then it would be way, 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 way less. So that's where all the birth registrations, death registrations, everything took place in San Mateo, Montemorelos, same church, okay? So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. If this is all happening at the same church, same time period, same place, and then the records are saying they're from these same little villages, you're very golden. Like, you need to make these connections to explain these discrepancies. So let's move on. So this is Jose Nieves' parents, right? Francisco and Gabriel, they're getting married, right? These, so here they're getting married. This is their presentation. So with a lot of Mexican records, you'll have, multiple records for the marriage. That being the presentation and kind of like the preparatory stuff, the lead up before the actual marriage. What I noticed with Montemorelos is a specific detail is the actual marriage will have where they are from in terms of the village, where the presentation will not. And plus, if you read the presentation, it's not saying that they've gotten married, whereas the actual marriage says that yo los casé, as in like I married them, right? I conducted the ceremony, right? So here, the only thing that shifts, all the relationships stay the same, everything. The only thing that changes is Silveria's last name now is Lopez. Again, same place, church, all relationships are the same. Okay? So she's Lopez, and this is on the 14th of January, 1872 at the presentation. Now we go to the net, and so this is a good way to use it. If you have marriage presentations with differing last names, you can tie those together. Especially if, like I said, if all the relationships are consistent, tie them together. So on the actual marriage, all right, now her last name is Losano, which is her father's last name, okay? So, and on here it says that they had shown up for the presentation on the 14th. Well, here on the presentation, they showed up on the 14th of January. I found that. So it's the same people. That eliminates any possibility that they're just magical duplicate people, which was already highly unlikely to begin with. All right. So then I circle the city, or the little town they're from is from Cerrito. Again, Cerrito over here, right? And the baptismal record for their son. So same people. So yeah, everything's remaining consistent. and then we're going to move on here. I'm just showing for Francisca's, we just saw her marriage presentation and certificate. Her mom was Lopez and then Losano. She reverts back to Lopez here on Francisca's death. It's the relationships are all consistent, except now she's Lopez here many years later in 1908. This is a sibling for Jose Nieves Luna. His name is Jose Alfredo. His parents are, again, Gabriel Luna and Francisca Martinez, like I mentioned. So here the grandparents are all consistent. The only thing that changes is now Silveria's Gonzalez, like she was on the other siblings' baptism and birth. And here they're from Cerrito, the same little village like that I was mentioning before. So what's important here is keep an eye out for the patrinos, or like the witnesses, the church witnesses, because now it says right here, one of them was Paulino Gomez. Well, Gomez is, I believe that was the maternal last name of his maternal grandfather, Teodosio Martinez. Teodosio Martinez's mother was Juana Gomez. So that little details like that, connecting dots, cementing, building up that tower of proof, right, if you will. And here we'll go to another record. This is for another sibling of theirs, Justo Luna. Okay, Silveria is Gonzalez. She's basically Gonzalez on most of their records for Jose Nieves Luna and his siblings, but not in all. I'll show you guys. So he has a padrino, again, another church witness named Felipe Martinez. What's really important about this is Felipe Martinez would be his uncle, because I found Felipe Martinez's baptismal records. So I highlighted that. They're from Cisneros, which is that municipality I was talking about earlier. So again, just connecting all those little dots. Felipe Martinez, his parents were Teodosio Martinez and Silveria Losano. She's going by Losano. One thing that's consistent is on all of these records, the further back we go, like the 1840s, 30s, all that, it's always Losano. There's no discrepancy. She's going by her maiden name. There's no Lopez. It's always Losano. So there's also that makes it very, very obvious and clear, and builds my case. So again, Cisneros, they're in that municipality. So it's the same people here. All right. So then we go to here. This is more siblings to Francisca Martinez. So more children of Silveria's. So this is for Irene Martinez. Again, they're from Cisneros, right? Grandparents Basilio Martinez, which is consistent. Like over here with Felipe, it showed his grandparents which is Basilio Martinez or Benito. The priest gave him Benito for whatever reason, but it's the same guy. Juana Gomez, Felipe Lozano, and Crescencia Gonzalez. It's the same thing for Irene. It doesn't say all her grandparents, but Basilio Martinez is her grandfather. It was her witness in this case. So then for Irene, again, this is a sibling to Francisca. This is her marriage record. She's from Cerrito, again, that specific village. So it's the same people. They're from the same place, specifically the same little village. And here Silveria is as Lopez. It says Lopez again. So, all right. So before we were even entertaining the idea, hey, these are duplicates, like in the past, like marriage records. Oh, these are duplicates. There's no way. Like, it's highly unlikely they're duplicates, but they're duplicates, right? This gets completely torn apart because now the idea of duplicates, but with another person named Irene Martinez, like, no, like the insane chance of that happening is slim, especially with such a low population. But you would have to duplicate almost everything else again, like for this to be the case, or you would just have to add another duplicate child again for both sets of people that you're saying are duplicates. It's just not, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying it's highly, highly unlikely. So then we go here to Irene Martinez's, she had a son, right? Francisco Ibarra. On here, he has the grandmother as Silveria Gonzalez. So again, we just saw a switch. So Losano, Lopez, Gonzalez. Okay, we saw the same pattern as with the other people, the other sibling, Francisca. Okay, here is another sibling to Francisca named Paula. Okay, this is her baptism. So again, the same grandparents as mentioned earlier for Felipe and all that, Crescencia Gonzalez, Felipe Losano, Basilio Martinez, Juana Games, and or Gomez. Silveria Lozano is her grandma, or I mean, not her grandma, her mother. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. There's so many relationships sometimes. I gotta kind of keep it straight. Paula Martinez was married to Francisco Tovar, again in Cerrito, and it says mother was Silveria Lopez. We just saw it switch from Losano to Lopez. So again, I'm just showing you guys, these are the little connections you make. You bring up all these different records for the person, different stages of their life, and you're like, hold on, like you can't duplicate this many people. It's the same person, right? So you just make these little connections. Now, here is where Paula had a daughter named Maria Tovar. They're from Cisneros, that same municipality I was talking about, right? Where Cerrito falls under. As we saw with that third great grandfather in his baptism, his birth, is from the demarcation of Cisneros, and from Cerritos, his main village. So it's the same thing here. And she's Lozano. So she just went from Lopez to Lozano again. So again, just showing you guys, right? This is, I believe, another son for Paula Martinez named Guadalupe Tovar, right? He's from the demarcation of Cisneros. Okay, so that explains Cisneros again. Like I said, it only doubles down on that proof. Now here, she's at Silveria Lopez. She just went from Losano to Lopez again. So I'm saying, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, now it gets ridiculous, because now if you want to argue the duplicates, now you have to even argue that there's duplicate sets of grandchildren with the same name for these different names. The chances that it's like 0%. Like, it's 0%, guys. And it's even going to get even more ridiculous because I'm not even done with this. So I'm saying, to make this indisputable, you've got to do the work to find all these other records, tie them together with the place, the city, the relationships. Go into, cousins once removed, like how I have, and see how the grandparents are listed. That's very easy. And you're able to freaking break this down, like the whole doubt that you're dealing with duplicates, because you're not. In certain cases, like this one, I can't be dealing with duplicates. It's too ridiculous. So another sibling to Francisco Martinez, Sabino Martinez. He was baptized here from Cisneros. Same sets of grandparents. Well, in this one, his instead of Juana Games, she's like as Ignacia Games, which is weird. Again, I don't know why. It's like maybe, again, a middle name or another first name or something. But it's the same people, Felipe Lozano and Crescencia Gonzalez, which is what really matters, because that's what leads to the Tlaxcalan line anyways. That's the people we're dealing with. Now, if we go over here to his marriage, right? He marries this woman named Hermenegilda, which is very uncommon. So again, if you want to use the duplicate argument, the chances of more Hermenegildas, like not really high, bro. So then parents is Silveria Lopez. So it just went from freaking Losano to Lopez again. What the heck? Sorry, I'm just being dramatic, guys. But I'm showing you guys how this drove me up the wall. Okay, this drove me up the wall until I made all these connections. Cisneros, again, that municipality they fall under. All right, so he has a daughter with this Hermenegilda named Maria Josefa, right? And it shows, let me see here. It shows paternal grandparents, which is his parents, as Tedosa Martinez and Silveria Gonzalez. So now we just went from Lopez, Lozano, Gonzalez here. Again, all again, like it replicated in another child's record for Silveria and another one of her kids, all these varying last names. So again, like as you add more siblings and grandchildren, it's like, no, the chance of duplication is not even there. It's not possible to have that much duplication. So then we go to another son for Sabino Martinez. And on he's from Cisneros as well, obviously that municipality. Silveria Lopez, it goes from Gonzalez to Lopez again. It goes there again. So again, like showing you guys, like these are the type of little connections you want to make. You want to make sure all these names are consistent. Again, I'm just kind of repeating myself. I'm just going through this to show you guys just how far I went to prove that this woman was the same one. She was just using 3 different freaking last names, man. And oh my God, I swear, I cussed a lot. I cussed a lot doing this shit. So, all right. So he passed away. When he passes away, his mother is Silveria Losano. Okay. So as you can see, these names are just Silveria's last names are just getting interchanged. Okay. And Gonzalez, Losano makes sense. That's tied to her parents. Lopez, I don't know where Lopez comes from. I have no idea where Lopez comes from, but it doesn't really matter because it's obvious it's the same person, right? So here we go to 32. Here is, we're going back to Francisca Martinez, which is my grandmother, like I said, that's tied directly to me, my direct ancestor, okay? So this is a sibling to Nieves Luna, again, and her name is Elodia, Elodia Luna, right? So here, the grandmother is from Cerrito, again, the specific village they're from, and going by the name Lopez. So you have the same thing with my initial direct ancestors, whether they have Gonzalez and they interchange with Lopez for the grandmother. You know, Gonzalez, Lopez, it's all the same people. All right, so here's another one. Here's another sibling to him named Soledad Luna, all right? This is another set of birth records and then a baptism after, right? For the same person. Same place, all right? Demarcation of Cisneros. Okay, his name, person's name is Soledad Luna. Here we go at Silveria Gonzalez. It's listed. We go to this person's baptism, okay? Baptism. Now, the location said like the city, so maybe they moved or whatever, but I found that common. Sometimes they would just opt to say they're from the city instead of saying like the specific little place, but it's the same people, again, with all these names consistent, all the grandparents, the parent, the mom, all that. Here, Silveria is as Lopez, yet again as Lopez. So I've shown you guys the way you tie this together with these stupid little discrepancies, because I swear I would choke some of these ancestors if I could go back. I would choke Silveria if I could go back in time. The way you tie it is use siblings. Use the siblings' children. Use your direct ancestors' children and their siblings. Find the marriage presentation and the actual marriage. So look at all those names. If everything comes together, same place, same little village, all the relationships are consistent, all the names stay consistent, you got the right person. It's the same person. You know, she could be using 2 or 3 names, whatever. It's the same person. It's obvious, okay? So that's what it looks like. That's how I solved it. That's how I had to tie everything together. And it was a huge headache, but it was definitely worth it, because for this line in particular, it was really, really important that I got this down, because this was my Tlaxcalan line. And so I really, really wanted to get it. And I guess I'll finish going through the rest of it, which is Francisca Martinez. Parents is Tadeusz Martinez Silveria Losano. Maternal grandparents are Felipe Losano, Maria Crescencia. And then paternal grandparents, Basilia Martinez, Maria Juan of Games. So here is Silveria Losano and Tadeusz Martinez getting married, same parents' names, consistent. Okay. Now this is this is just a sibling to Silveria that I use in Stanislao. He's going as what was it? He's going as Losano in his death record later in 1875. So it shows that I would just put it there as kind of like proof that, hey, they didn't really go by Gonzalez. Like, I don't know why they were listing her as that. Again, like the people giving the information to the priest could have been the grandchild, or not the grandchild, but like other family members, or just maybe she was called Gonzalez more than Losano. Maybe she just used Losano more legally, but she used all 3 names, like I said, in none of these records. So I just kind of stuck that in there as more context. Felipe Losano and Maria Crescencia Gonzalez. That's the grandparents for Francisca Martinez. So now we're with them. So they were married, and Crescencia Gonzalez's parents were Miguel Gonzalez and Maria Simona Suarez. The parents of Felipe were Jose Antonio Losano and Maria Rosalia Martinez. We're all we care about is Crescencia Gonzalez's parents, because that's where we get the Tlaxcalteca stuff. So here she's getting married to Miguel Gonzalez, and here it says she's a Native American originating from the Valley and from the Mission of Conception. Okay, well, these missions were very, very specific, very, very cool things too. They were important, but I'm glad that they kept track with these records. So her parents were Juan Esteban Suarez and Maria Ramona Conde. Now, it doesn't have Tlaxcalteca written for her, which is weird, but she is, and I proved that through the sibling. So is Jose Victoriano Suarez. Parents are the same, Juan Esteban Suarez and Maria Ramona Conde. He is a Tlaxcalteca Native American. I have it circled right there. Now, if obviously it's the same, it's a sibling because they have the same parents. Okay, so she's Tlaxcalteca too. But if anyone had a little bit of doubt, I actually found a record where Jose Victoriano Suarez and Maria Simona Suarez are listed together as church witnesses, so familial witnesses together. So this even proves right there, like, oh yeah, beyond a doubt, they're siblings. And then Jose Victoriano Suarez, he has a daughter. I looked into her record. Thankfully, I did. I thought it'd be a waste of time, but I did. And so on here, it shows her paternal grandparents, which is, again, Juan Esteban Suarez, Ramona Conde. And on here, it says that they are Tlaxcalan as well. So that only backs everything up. You know what I mean? So I was able to prove that I'm from the Tlaxcalan tribe. You know, this is my lineage. This is my proof of lineage. And that's how you explain away discrepancies. Like I said, most of this PDF was actually me just explaining the freaking discrepancy with Losano, Lopez, and Gonzalez. Most of the PDF was spent doing that shit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys got something out of this and that you enjoyed this, maybe learned something. But yeah, that's how I solved it. And thank you guys for everything.